Hey everyone, let's talk about evaluating our sources. When we are doing research, we need to find sources of information. They might be videos, articles, newspaper clippings, photos, any kind of source of information, no matter what it is, you need to evaluate it. Basically, you want to make sure that it's coming from a place with a good reputation. You want to make sure that they are reliable, trustworthy, all of that stuff. So here's how you start. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the two different screens here. On the left, I have my source evaluation worksheet, and on the right, I have a web browser, the internet. So let's start at the top, and the first thing it's asking you is, where did you find your source? So that's really important. First things first, you have to figure out, where exactly did I get this source from? So let's say that you got the source from a database. We're going to start with a database. So as you know, your library purchases library databases. They purchase them because they tend to have very reliable and very helpful and student-friendly information in them. So whenever I'm doing research, I personally always recommend that you start with library databases if you're fortunate enough to have access to them, which you are. So on the right-hand side, I have Miss Delaney's library page open to her database page. And I'm going to scroll down, and one of the links to one of the databases is SIRS Discoverer. That is one of the really excellent databases for you for research. So I'm going to start there. Let's say that I went into SIRS Discoverer earlier, and I searched my topic of zoos, and let's say I found this one article that I really liked. So now I want to use it for my research, but I need to evaluate it first. How do I do that? Looking on the left to the worksheet, I'm going to just go down and start filling out these boxes. First thing it asks me for is, what is the name of this database? That's really simple. You're looking on your source in the top left-hand corner, and it's usually going to tell you right there what the name of the database is. And here you can see it's ProQuest SIRS Discoverer. So I'm going to type in ProQuest SIRS Discoverer. And then it says, what type of source is this? It's also really simple. A database is always going to tell you. So if you scroll down on your source right underneath the title, you'll see that the gray text right here, it says very clearly, this is a newspaper. This source is a newspaper. So I'm going to type in on my worksheet, newspaper. Next, you can see that it asks me for the name of my source. The name of the source is right next to the word newspaper. I'm scrolling over and I see two names. I see Robin Ganzert. That doesn't really sound like a newspaper name. And then I see the words Florida Today. That does sound like a newspaper name. So Florida Today is the name of the source. Florida Today. Next, it asks, what's the name of the author? Is there an author listed? So again, I'm going to look on my source on the right next to the word newspapers, it says the name Robin Ganzert. That's the name of the author. So I'm just going to type in Robin Ganzert. Now I go down to the next box. The next box it asks me for says next steps. And then in red text, it says there are no next steps usually necessary. This source can be considered reliable because it was found in a library database. And we buy library databases because they have reliable information in them. And it saves you some steps because you basically don't really have to go much farther here. There isn't much more information you need to check. Your source is reliable. It's from a library database. You're pretty much good to go. So happy researching. Bye, everyone.